Wind can also do it too. It reduces the heat in the backs of the creeks and stuff like that, the temperature. The bait will move out, and they use depth, the water column, as their cover, as their protectant, all right? You know about the shad spawn, or the shad die-off that happens in the wintertime, right? I don't know how often you guys get the shad kills that we get in Oklahoma, but we'll get them where it's just ridiculous, and then above us north, it's even worse, right? Why does this tie into a jerkbait fish, all right? When the shad begin to go out, they ball up, they get real tight for warmth and to protect themselves, right? They want to move more vertically. They don't want to move a lot of horizontally if they don't have to. It's just easier for them to move up and down. And so then the largemouth get out on them, and they get on those bait balls for two reasons. That's their food source, so they just follow it around. And in the wintertime, when they're on a big bunch of bait, if you guys have seen the grass, it's just bait balls as big as this room at times. They just get underneath them and follow them around. They got all the food they want right there. All they got to do is literally go up, they're fed. The other thing they're doing is it's cover for them. It protects them. I don't know how many times you guys watched and paid attention, but bass will, sometimes they'll fall around and use your boat as cover. Like they like something over their head, they like that shadow, okay? So how does that tie into a jerkbait? When bait are falling around, it's kind of like the hyena and the lion. The lion's following the hyena or a lion, the predator is going to follow its prey, and they're going to pick out the weakest one in the pack, right? So when a bait begins to die and it begins to flutter and be erratic and go like this and fall down, the bass will come up and feed on it. And that's what we're doing with the jerkbait, is we're intimidating that dying shad. So one of the things I'm going to look at in the wintertime are going to be your timber, your vertical structures, okay? Your timber, your channel swings. If you're looking at maps and curious where this is at, where your topo lines are really tight. If I'm early in the wintertime, I'm going to look as close back to where the fall pattern happened, my first drop-offs, my first ditches, channel swings, things of that nature, and I'm going to bring it out all the way to where by the end of the wintertime, I'm out basically main lake, almost by the dam area, if that makes sense. Yep. So your cadence in the wintertime is going to be predicated by everything that I just talked about. You got a slower metabolism of bass, so he doesn't want to burn calories to feed, okay? You've got food source like crazy above his head where he doesn't have to work that hard. So it's pretty easy, right? If you can sit on the couch and holler at the old lady and she brings you food, you're going to do that. But if she's going to give you a hard time, then you're going to get up and go in there and get your own food in the kitchen, right? A bass, especially a fat, lazy one, he's the same way. Like, he's going to take the easiest meal possible, easiest route possible. And so a lot of times, not that he won't, everything I'm talking about now, just so you guys know, there's the 90% rule. 90% of the time, what I'm talking about is dead on accurate. The other 10% of the time is the time that we just don't have any idea why bass do what they do, right? If I can keep a bait suspended in its face for a long time, all right, that fish can come up knowing that he's not going to have to exert that much energy. But if it's moving and moving and moving, he may kind of move and it keeps moving away. He's going to, that was too hard. I'm going to wait for it. So that's why the suspending jerkbait is going to work so well on a bass, all right? And that's why we have to start looking at the difference between a shallow bill versus a deeper diver bill. Isn't necessarily because one or the other is not getting bit, has to do with just if that fish is suspended deeper, he doesn't want to move as far up. So you have to kind of get more, closer inside, into his face. Make it easier for him. The metabolism bass, we talked about that slow. The twitch, pause. My standard cadence, guys, is boom, boom, and then just pause. So the first thing that I'm going to pay attention to is how long did that bait have to sit there for a fish to come bite. Pre-live scope, it was all about counting the seconds. Am I counting to 3? Am I counting to 30? Am I counting to a minute, right? After that, we've learned that there's a lot of times that the pause actually creates the curiosity of the fish, and it's actually the movement that will actually get him to bite. Now, if you move it too fast and he's lazy, he's gonna be like, I don't want it. If you move it just right and match that fish's behavior,